All right, one more story, then we'll get to some phone calls and some IMs. This is pretty interesting. So you're all familiar because of, there's two ways you'd be familiar with this story. One is because you watch Fox News and ingest right-wing media, or you occasionally dip in and listen to some left progressives, true progressives, who
I'm
also
suspect of that.
Watch
That to me, this is red flaggy all over the place.
who watch Fox News to get their information. So, and that was the Seth Rich conspiracy, and so apparently, right? If you recall, the story was that at the time, supposedly, Seth Rich's family had hired a private investigator that a third party, just turns out to be a Republican Oppo guy, had paid for a private investigator to snoop around and find out what really happened to Seth Rich. Because the idea that a mugging went wrong and someone got shot and they didn't stick around after the gunshots to take the $30 or $50 they thought Seth Rich might have in his wallet, that never happens. So, NPR has this story that the private investigator, Rod Wheeler, who is a dubious character in and of himself, is suing Fox News because they supposedly made some of his quotes up to enhance the story. So that dispute, who knows, right? But what's more interesting about this story is the stuff that has not been disputed. And apparently the guy has voicemails and texts between Rod Wheeler, between him and this guy Butowski, who Ed Butowski, a big Trump supporter, some type of financial advisor, a wealthy Dallas investor. And he's the one who sought out Wheeler to investigate the Seth Rich thing. So it wasn't like the family was like, we want a private investigator. I'll step in and pay for it. I'm a hero. It is, he went out, he got this guy, Rod Wheeler. They were both like Fox News people. And he also sat him down with a reporter for the local Fox News. So on April 20th, a month before the story ran, Butowski and Wheeler met at the White House with Sean Spicer to brief him on what they were uncovering. The first page of the lawsuit quotes a voicemail and text from Butowski boasting that President Trump himself had reviewed drafts of the Fox News story just before it went to air and was published. Now, Butowski is now claiming, well, I was joking that the president had reviewed it. But Sean Spicer does not dispute that on April 20th, he met with Butowski and Wheeler. Now I'm sorry, this week Sean Spicer doesn't deny it. Back when he was asked, for some reason on May 16th, right as the story broke, and he was asked by a Fox News reporter, right?
Fox DC.
Fox DC. What was her name? Do you know?
Ronica Cleary.
And apparently, Butowski and Wheeler met with a Fox News investigative producer based in L.A. So here is what Sean Spicer said on May 16th, almost a month to the day after meeting with Butowski and Wheeler.
Sean, can we get a White House reaction or the president's reaction to the report that Seth Rich was emailing WikiLeaks before his murder?
I'm not aware of. I generally, I don't get updates on former DNC staffers. I'm not aware of that.
It would certainly have a great influence on where the leaks came from. If they could potentially, I mean, there's a lot of implications in the story, of course, but
I understand that, but for me to comment from here about an ongoing investigation, I believe it's still ongoing. I don't even know the status of it in terms of DC, but it would be highly inappropriate to do that.
I mean, it would also been inappropriate to meet with these guys and discuss it a month earlier as the story was developing.
You see that, Scaramucci? That's how you fucking do it, you moron, you stugats.
Spicer now tells NPR that he took the meeting as a favor to Bukowski, who is a reliable Republican voice. How many people, contemplate this for a moment, okay? I mean, it's not like there's not fires going off all around the White House. How many meetings per day can Sean Spicer take? Like, how big is a deal is this guy Butowski?
Well, he's a regular, solid Republican voice, Sam.
This campaign does a lot of pointless meetings. It's the same with Kushner and meeting the Russians.
Spicer says he was unaware of any contact involving the president. And Butowski now tells NPR he was kidding about Trump's involvement. So the real question is, like, how did Spicer end up meeting with this guy? Like, what does this guy say to Spicer to get into the room with him?
I'm suspect of that. This is that to me. This is red flaggy all over the place.
I wonder if. I mean, it's possible Butowski was joking about the president. Apparently, this is what.
It was one of the kids. He said Don Jr. and it'd be like, Sean Bukowski.
So here are the texts that are in the. Here are the texts in the voicemail. On May 14th, 36 hours before Fox News story appeared, Butowski left a voicemail for Wheeler. This is the joke voicemail that he left. Now, presumably, Wheeler has the actual voicemail, right? I mean, they claim it. It would be, the suit's not going to go very far if they get into discovery and there's no voicemail. We have the full attention of the White House on this. And tomorrow, let's close the deal. Whatever we've got to do. So that happens 36 hours before the story comes out. And then Butowski also texted Wheeler not to add any more pressure, but the president just read the article. He wants the article out immediately. It's now all up to you. That's hilarious. I hate to break down jokes like this because they say not to do that in comedy. But when he says not to add any more pressure, here's the punchline. But the president just read the article. And then you laugh. And then it's called a callback when he says he wants the article out immediately. Also hilarious. It's now all up to you.
That's the tag.
Yeah, that's the tag. And Spicer said Butowski laid out what they had found out in the case. This is back in April 16th. Okay, 3 weeks before they actually released it. It had nothing to do with advancing the president's domestic agenda. There was no agenda. They were just informing me of the Fox story. And now Butowski repeatedly claimed that the meeting was set up to address, this is why Butowski set up the meeting, to address Wheeler's pleas for help landing a job for the Trump administration. Yeah, apparently Wheeler, the private investigator, while he was being paid by Butowski, was like, please, guy who's paying me money, can you help me get a job with the Trump administration? Oh, of course I can. Let's go meet the press secretary because he does all the hiring of former cops who are private investigators.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, I thought the whole exchange was funny.
Butowski is an interesting figure. He gave money to 9 politicians, 7 Republicans, 2 Democrats, including $1,000 to Barack Obama. So he just seems to be really full on, a Trump guy now. But he also, I guess at one point he also sort of lost it during the Trump administration, started appearing on Breitbart's news radio programs. That's interesting. He knows Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon doesn't know anything about coming out with other stories to downplay, let's say, I don't know, the investigations about Russia. So at the very least, we know that Sean Spicer met with this guy and that Butowski's got a great sense of humor.
Look, I'm not Tom Daschle. I'm not trying to suck my own cock.
Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos